Hello everybody, welcome to another weekly update from me, an Inkscape developer, letting you know what I've been doing this week. First of all, I want to give a big shout out and thank you to all of my Patreons. Thank you all very much for your continued support. And if you'd like to join them, please follow the link below. This week was pretty busy. The biggest thing that I got up to this week was we did a welcome screen review. So in the next version of Inkscape, there's a welcome screen that pops up when you first run Inkscape. It doesn't have to run every time, you can turn it off, but it introduces new Inkscape users to some of the key preferences and options that you can set, and some of the ways in which you can open templates and things. And some of the developers were concerned that the user design that had been implemented wasn't congruent enough, like it wasn't consistent enough. So we jumped on a video call, did a full design review, looked at all of the kinds of issues with the theming, some technical issues, and basically we wanted to pare down some of the options. So we introduced a dark button, a toggle, so that all of the themes have both a light and a dark theme. And rather than have each of those options displayed in the list, it made slightly more sense to have a toggle button so that they were separate options. And then the rest of it was just deciding upon which combinations of icons and themes, and also introducing a system theme. So apparently Windows and Mac users, you only ever see the Inkscape default theme, the Adawata theme. But Linux users, especially people on KDE or other desktop platforms, they're going to have their own internal themes. And Inkscape needs to have an option that allows those Linux users to keep their default system theme if that's what they want. Partially, we had to have a discussion about whether that was appropriate to have as a default, since we can't guarantee if you have a weird Linux theme that Inkscape is going to look or perform in any reasonable way. But we think we got it fairly straight out, and a lot of the coding and stuff is fixed and ready to go. We need to get that done before the string freeze, which is when translators have a concrete date that they can work from to make sure that Inkscape is translated. As well, this week I did an addition to the website. The forum moderators on the Inkscape website requested that they be able to add instructions to new users that post about what kinds of things in this particular forum that they wanted. So I allowed them to stick their thread, like other comment threads, on top when you are submitting a new post if you're a new user. That will hopefully allow them the greatest amount of control. I don't have to edit their posts; they can just edit them however they want as moderators, which is great. And there was a couple of other website fixes as well with the CSS and some caching work. Crashes this week, so I fixed a crash with the filters being applied to parent groups. It basically was cascading, and it didn't really understand what the object was, so it crashed. There was a bug with the copying nodes that I demonstrated last week. If you copied nodes from two different subpaths in the same object, it crashed. That's fixed. While I was there, I added a automatically selecting the nodes. So when you paste them in, you select the nodes that you just pasted. This should make it slightly easier to manipulate them as you paste them. That was actually a request by Chris Rogers, who bartered for me. He helped me with my LibrePlanet slides. So next week I'm giving a talk at LibrePlanet, which you're all welcome to have a look at. I needed a bit of help because I was feeling a bit anxious about creating all of these graphics. So he gave me a hand. So thank you, Chris. Yes, I also did a feature for Polyart. They wanted a way to deselect nodes with the bounding box. So in current Inkscape, you can use the node tool and select a bunch of nodes with a bounding box, but there's no way to deselect a region of nodes. So now I added a modifier. So if you hold down the control key, it inverts the selection. So if you hold Control and Shift, it deselects nodes from the selection. And if you just hold down Control, it'll select the inverse of all of the nodes in that path. So basically it selects all of them except the ones that were inside that box. Thank you, Polyart, for commissioning that. I fixed a regression when clicking on the fill-in stroke dialogues. It didn't highlight the dialog correctly. Basically, with the new dialog system, the highlighter had been removed, so I put that back. And I made an attempt to fix a problem with the stroke and style properties, where if you have two objects that have different dash strokes, and then you attempt to change the stroke width, both objects will be set to the same dash, right? And that's simply because the stroke width, the dash, and the mitre are all chained together. You change any of those three things in the dialog, in the style, stroke and style of the dialog, and they'll be changed to the same thing for all of those objects. So I made an attempt to split those out. I'm not entirely happy with the result yet, so I'm going to keep it as a work in progress, and we'll see if I can get back to it later. That's about it for this week. Thank you all very much for listening. And if you have any comments or interesting things about Inkscape, we are heading very close into releasing 1.1 very soon, maybe a month to go. So we're going to be fixing bugs. We're going to be looking at crashes especially. So if you have those, if you're finding those, let us know. And if you're trying the new version of Inkscape. And I think my computer's fan is telling me that I'm finished. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next week.